The shuttle doors opened with a soft hiss, and Kang Taeho took his first step onto alien ground. The air smelled strange, clean, but wrong somehow, like someone had removed all the interesting parts and left only the basics. He walked down the ramp and felt something strange in his legs. They felt light, too light, like he might float away if he jumped too hard. This was Velor, a planet with gravity less than half of what Earth had. His body, built to carry itself through Earth's heavy pull, suddenly had almost nothing to fight against. Taeho was 22 years old, born and raised in Busan, South Korea. He had spent 4 years in the Korean military before the Galactic Union made contact with Earth. When they announced that 10 humans would be allowed to attend their famous military academy, Taeho applied without telling anyone. He was not the smartest applicant, but something in his file caught their attention, and now he was here. The Galactic Union Military Academy spread out before him like a city made of glass and light. Towers reached toward a purple sky. Vehicles floated silently between buildings. Aliens of every shape and size walked the paths, some on 2 legs, some on 4, some on none at all. Taeho picked up his bag and started walking toward the registration building. His steps felt bouncy and strange. He had to focus to keep from jumping with each stride. A tall, thin alien with blue-gray skin and large dark eyes fell into step beside him. The alien moved like a dancer, graceful and careful, as if the ground might break beneath its feet. "You are the human," the alien said. Its voice was soft and musical. "I am Vorin. We are assigned to share a room." Taeho nodded. "I'm Taeho. Nice to meet you." Vorin studied him with those large eyes. "I must be honest with you. I have read about your planet, Earth." The alien paused, as if choosing words carefully. "Most humans who come to places like this do not succeed. Your bodies are different, heavy, slow. The gravity of your world has made you strong in some ways, but it has also limited you." Taeho had heard this before. In the months of preparation on Earth, the Union representatives had explained it many times. Earth was classified as a death world, a planet so dangerous, so extreme, that most species could not survive there for even a day. The gravity alone would crush their bones, the weather would kill them, the animals would eat whatever was left. "I understand," Taeho said simply. Vorin seemed surprised by his calm response. "You are not offended?" "No. You are just telling me what you know. But what you know might not be everything." They walked in silence after that. Taeho noticed that Vorin moved slowly, placing each foot with great care. On Vorin's home moon, gravity was even lighter than here. Every step on Velor was heavy work for the alien. But Taeho felt like he could run a marathon without trying. The registration hall was crowded with new cadets. Taeho saw species he had never imagined. Some were tall and covered in scales. Some were short and covered in fur. Some had no legs at all, and floated on cushions of air. They all looked at him as he walked past. He heard whispers in languages he did not understand, but he caught one word repeated again and again. Human. A large screen on the wall displayed information about each cadet's homeworld. When Taeho approached the registration desk, his information appeared on the screen. Earth. Gravity rating, 1.0 G standard. Classification, Deathworld Category 7. The room went quiet. A cadet with 4 arms and a face like a lizard stepped forward. It was large, almost 2 meters tall, and its scales were bright green. "Category 7, it said loudly. "That cannot be correct. How are you even alive?" Taeho looked at the cadet calmly. "I grew up there. But the gravity alone would destroy your organs. Your bones would be like stone, just to hold you up." "My bones are fine." The lizard-like cadet laughed. Other cadets joined in. The Deathworld creature thinks his bones are fine, someone said. Wait until he tries to keep up with real soldiers. Teho said nothing. He had learned long ago that words were useless against mockery. Only actions mattered. He completed his registration and followed the directions to his room. Vorin was already there, arranging strange objects on a shelf. The room was small and simple. 2 beds, 2 desks, 1 window looking out at the purple sky. I saw what happened, Vorin said quietly, in the registration hall. They were cruel. Teho set his bag on the empty bed. Curiosity sometimes looks like cruelty. You are very calm for someone who was just insulted. On Earth, we have bigger problems than insults. Vorin tilted its head. What kind of problems? Teho thought about it. How could he explain typhoons that destroyed cities, earthquakes that swallowed buildings, summers so hot that roads melted, and winter so cold that water turned to stone in seconds? How could he explain sharing a planet with tigers and sharks and diseases that killed millions? Everything on Earth is trying to kill you, he said finally. The weather, the animals, the ground itself. We are born into a fight, and we never stop fighting. After a while, you stop noticing. You just live. Vorin was silent for a long moment. That sounds terrible. Teho smiled slightly. It sounds like home. That night, Teho lay in his bed and stared at the ceiling. The mattress was too soft. The gravity was too light. The silence was too complete. On Earth, there was always noise. Wind and rain and cars and people. Here, there was nothing but the hum of machines. He thought about his family back home. His mother, who had cried when he left. His father, who had simply nodded and told him to make Korea proud. His younger sister Yuna, who had punched his arm and told him not to embarrass himself in front of aliens. He would not embarrass himself. He would not embarrass Earth. Whatever these aliens thought they knew about humans, they were wrong. They saw heavy gravity and assumed weakness. They saw a harsh world and assumed primitive creatures. They did not understand that the harshness was what made humans strong. Every generation of humanity had been forged in fire, flood, war, and disaster. The survivors passed their strength to their children. 10,000 years of evolution on a world that never stopped trying to kill them. Tomorrow, the training would begin. Tomorrow, they would test him. Tomorrow, they would learn what a death world really produces. Teho closed his eyes and slept. His body felt strange in the light gravity, like it was floating even while lying still. But his mind was calm. He was ready. The Galactic Union had invited humanity to prove itself. Kang Teho intended to accept that invitation. The morning alarm was a soft chime that filled the room like gentle rain. Teho was already awake. He had been doing push-ups for 20 minutes. Vorin watched from across the room with wide eyes. How many have you done? 300. 300? Vorin's voice cracked. That would kill most cadets here. Teho stood up. He was not even breathing hard. On Earth, 300 push-ups was a warm-up. Here, with gravity pulling at less than half the strength, it felt like nothing at all. His muscles were confused. They were built to work hard, and now there was almost no work to do. The cadets gathered at the training grounds an hour later. Commander Selleck stood on a raised platform, looking down at them with sharp yellow eyes. She was tall and thin, with silver skin that seemed to glow in the morning light. No one knew exactly what species she was, and no one dared to ask. Today we begin with standard physical evaluation. Her voice carried across the field without effort. You will march 30 kilometers across open terrain. You will carry a 20-kilogram pack. You will finish within 6 hours, or you will fail. This is not negotiable. Murmurs rippled through the crowd. Teho heard cadets complaining about the distance, the weight, the time limit. To them, this was extreme. The absolute edge of what their bodies could handle. Teho did the math in his head. 30 kilometers in 6 hours meant 5 kilometers per hour. A slow walk. A very slow walk. The pack was 20 kilograms. On Earth, military training packs weighed 40 kilograms or more, and Earth's gravity made everything heavier. He almost laughed. Almost. The march began at sunrise. Cadets spread out across the rocky terrain, moving at their own pace. Most walked carefully, saving energy, watching their steps. Their bodies were not built for this kind of sustained effort. Then he started jogging. The ground felt soft beneath his feet, the gravity so weak that each step pushed him forward like a gentle wind at his back. The pack on his shoulders felt like a pillow. He passed the first group of cadets within 10 minutes. They stared at him like he was insane. He passed the second group 5 minutes later. Someone shouted something at him, but he did not stop to listen. By the halfway point, Teho was alone, far ahead of everyone else. The terrain grew rougher, with sharp rocks and steep hills, but his legs ate up the distance without complaint. His lungs worked smoothly. His heart beat steady and strong. He finished the march in 2 hours and 43 minutes. Commander Selleck was waiting at the finish line. Her face showed no expression, but her eyes followed Teho as he approached. He stopped in front of her and stood at attention. "You finished." "Yes, Commander." "You finished faster than any cadet in the history of this evaluation." "I was not aware of that, Commander." She studied him for a long moment. "Wait here." Teho waited. He drank water from his canteen and watched the horizon. Slowly, over the next few hours, other cadets began to arrive. Most were exhausted, dragging their feet, barely able to stand. Some collapsed at the finish line. Medical teams rushed to help them. Vorin arrived near the back of the group, trembling with effort. Teho walked over and offered a hand. Vorin took it gratefully. "How?" Vorin gasped. "How did you finish so fast?" "I walked, then I jogged a little." "That is not possible. I watched you leave. You were running." "That was not running. On Earth that was jogging. Running is much faster." Vorin stared at him like he was speaking a different language. Her face was still unreadable. "There has been a concern raised," she announced to the assembled cadets. "Some believe that Cadet Kang's performance was the result of equipment malfunction or cheating. We will conduct a retest tomorrow morning. Cadet Kang will complete the march again, under direct observation." Teho nodded. "Yes, Commander." That night, the mess hall was full of whispers. Teho sat alone at a corner table, eating something that looked like gray porridge, but tasted like nothing at all. He missed Korean food. He missed rice and kimchi and his mother's cooking. A tray appeared across from him. He looked up and saw a female cadet with pale white skin and hair like silver threads. She was small and delicate, with eyes that shimmered like ice. "I am Nara," she said. "I am from a moon called Felos. It is very cold and has very low gravity, even lower than here." Teho nodded. "I am Teho. Everyone knows." She sat down and began eating. "I watched you today. You were not even tired at the end." "I was a little tired." "You were jogging at the finish line." "I was bored. The last 5 kilometers were very slow." Nara laughed. It was a soft sound, like wind chimes. "The others think you cheated, or that your species has some hidden technology." "We do not. We just have heavy gravity." "Tell me about it, about Earth." So Teho told her. He told her about the ocean, vast and deep and full of creatures that could kill with one bite. He told her about the mountains, so tall that the air at the top was too thin to breathe. He told her about storms that could flatten cities and summers that could cook eggs on the ground. Nara listened with her mouth open. "And you survived this? All of you?" "Most of us, not everyone. That is," she searched for the word, "incredible and terrifying. You get used to it." The next morning, Teho completed the retest. Commander Selleck watched every step, through a flying camera drone. Other instructors monitored his vital signs through sensors attached to his body. He finished in 2 hours and 31 minutes, 12 minutes faster than the day before. When he crossed the finish line, the instructors were silent. Commander Selleck walked toward him slowly. For the first time, Taeho thought he saw something like respect in her eyes. "Cadet Kang," she said, "it appears your performance was genuine." "Yes, Commander. Your species is remarkable." "Thank you, Commander." She turned to address the other instructors. "Mark this in the records. The human cadet has set a new academy record, by a margin of 1 hour and 47 minutes. Taeho allowed himself a small smile. Just a small one. Across the field, he saw Nara watching him. She raised one hand in a small wave. Behind her, Vorin stood with wide eyes and an expression of total disbelief. And in the shadows near the training buildings, Taeho noticed someone else watching. A large reptilian cadet with dark scales and cold eyes. The cadet did not wave, did not smile, just watched with an expression that Taeho recognized immediately. It was the look of someone planning something. Taeho had seen that look before, on Earth, in the military, in the streets of Busan late at night. It was the look of a predator choosing its next target. Whatever was coming, Taeho would be ready. The message came 3 weeks after the endurance test. A simple note slipped under Taeho's door in the middle of the night. It contained only a time and a location. Midnight, underground training arena. Vorin found it first. His face went pale when he read it. "You cannot go," Vorin said. His voice was shaking. "This is the Crucible. It is an old tradition. Illegal, but the instructors pretend not to know. Senior cadets use it to break first years who show too much promise." Taeho read the note calmly. "What happens in the Crucible?" "You fight. 5 opponents, one after another. No breaks, no surrender. If you refuse the invitation, they mark you as a coward. Your reputation is destroyed. But if you accept," Vorin paused, 3 cadets were sent to medical care last year. 1 never recovered fully. Taeho folded the note and put it in his pocket. "Who organizes this?" "Torek, the big reptilian. He is a 3rd-year cadet from a warrior species. His family has produced military commanders for generations. He doesn't like being shown up by a first year." Vorin grabbed Taeho's arm. "Please, you do not have to prove anything. Just ignore it." Taeho looked at his roommate. In the past weeks, Vorin had become something close to a friend. The alien was kind, thoughtful, and genuinely worried about Taeho's safety. It was touching. But Taeho had not come across the galaxy to hide from bullies. "I will be fine," he said. "Go back to sleep." The underground arena was old. The walls were made of dark stone, stained with years of sweat and blood. Lights hung from chains above a circular fighting pit. Around the pit, stone steps formed seating for spectators. When Taeho arrived, the arena was already full. Dozens of cadets sat in the shadows, watching silently. He recognized some faces from his classes. Others were strangers. All of them had come to watch the human fail. She sat near the back, her silver hair bright against the darkness. When their eyes met, she shook her head slightly. A warning, a plea. Taeho walked to the edge of the pit and waited. Torek emerged from the opposite side. The reptilian was massive, nearly 2.5 meters tall, with scales so dark they seemed to absorb the light. His eyes were yellow and cold, like a snake watching a mouse. "The human came," Torek said. His voice echoed through the arena. "I thought you might run." "I do not run." "Then you are either brave or stupid." Torek smiled, showing rows of sharp teeth. "Let us find out which." The rules were simple. 5 opponents, one at a time. Fight until someone could not continue. No weapons, no killing. Everything else was allowed. The first opponent was a tall cadet covered in brown fur. He moved fast, faster than anything Tahoe had seen on Earth. His claws slashed through the air as he lunged forward. But Tahoe was not where the claws landed. Years of taekwondo had taught him to read movement. Years of military training had taught him to react without thinking. He stepped to the side, grabbed the furry arm as it passed, and used the cadet's own speed against him. The throw was simple, classic. The alien flew across the pit and crashed into the stone wall. He did not get up. The arena went silent. The second opponent was more careful. A female with green skin and 4 arms. She circled Tahoe slowly, looking for weakness. When she attacked, she used all 4 arms at once, trying to overwhelm him with angles. Tahoe blocked 2 arms, dodged a third, and took a hit from the 4th on his shoulder. It hurt, but pain was an old friend. On Earth, pain was a daily companion. You learned to use it, not fear it. The green-skinned cadet screamed and dropped to her knees. Tahoe released her immediately. "Stay down," he said quietly. "Please." She stayed down. The third opponent was built like a tank. Short, wide, covered in rocky plates that looked like natural armor. He charged at Tahoe with arms spread wide, trying to crush him in a bear hug. Tahoe did not dodge. Instead, he stepped forward to meet the charge. His fist struck the alien's throat, the one spot not covered by armor. The alien stopped, coughed, fell. 3 down, 2 to go. The fourth opponent was different. An insectoid with 6 limbs and compound eyes that saw in all directions. There were no blind spots, no easy angles. This one would not be taken by surprise. They circled each other for a long moment. The insectoid struck first, 3 limbs moving in a complex pattern that was almost beautiful. One strike got through. It hit Tahoe across the face and split his lip. Blood dripped onto the stone floor. The crowd cheered. Finally, the human was bleeding. Finally, he was hurt. Tahoe wiped his mouth with the back of his hand. He looked at the blood. Then he looked at the insectoid. "Okay," he said softly. "My turn." The insectoid had 6 limbs. Within 30 seconds, Tahoe had disabled all 6. Precise strikes to joints. Quick locks and twists that used leverage instead of strength. The alien collapsed in a heap of twitching limbs. Tahoe stepped back and faced Torek. The reptilian walked into the pit slowly. He was not smiling anymore. His yellow eyes were focused, calculating. This was not a game anymore. "You are better than I expected," Torek admitted. "But I am not like the others. I have trained since birth. I have killed in real combat. You are just a child from a heavy planet. Then stop talking and show me." They fought. Torek was fast, faster than his size suggested. His claws tore through air, leaving trails of heat. His tail whipped around, trying to knock Tahoe's legs out from under him. His teeth snapped inches from Tahoe's face. But Tahoe had spent his entire life fighting gravity. Every jump, every step, every breath on Earth had built muscles that most species could not imagine. His bones were dense like stone. His tendons were thick like cables. When Torek's claw struck his arm, it drew blood, but did not break the bone beneath. Tahoe kept fighting. Minutes passed. Both fighters were bleeding now. Both were tired. But Tahoe did not stop. Could not stop. His body knew only one truth. Keep moving, keep fighting, keep standing. Finally, Torek stumbled. Just a small mistake. A moment of imbalance. Tahoe struck. His knee drove into Torek's chest. His elbow smashed down on the reptilian's neck. His final punch cracked against the side of Torek's skull. Torek fell. The arena was completely silent. Tejo stood over his fallen opponent, breathing hard. Blood ran down his face and arms. His body ached in 100 places. But he was still standing. He reached down and offered his hand. Torek looked up at him with something new in his yellow eyes. Not anger, not hatred, something else. Respect. The reptilian took the hand and allowed Tejo to pull him up. Then Tejo bowed slightly, a gesture of honor between warriors. Torek returned the bow. The audience did not know how to react. Some whispered, some stared. Nara had her hands pressed over her mouth, tears running down her face. Tejo turned and walked out of the arena without another word. Behind him, the legend of the Deathworld Cadet began to spread. Word of the Crucible spread faster than light. Within days, every cadet at the academy knew what had happened. Within weeks, the story reached military officials across the Galactic Union. A human from a death world had defeated 5 opponents in hand-to-hand combat, including Torek, one of the best fighters in the academy. Some officials were impressed, others were afraid. Tejo learned about the controversy when Commander Selleck summoned him to her office. The room was simple and clean, with windows that looked out over the academy grounds. Selleck sat behind a metal desk, her silver face unreadable as always. "Cadet Kang," she said, "sit." Tejo sat. "Do you know why I sponsored your admission to this academy?" He shook his head. He had always wondered. The Union had received thousands of applications from Earth. Why had they chosen him? "I read your planet's history," Selleck said. 10,000 years of recorded civilization. War after war after war. Empires rising and falling. Billions dead from disease, famine, conflict. And yet your species never stopped, never gave up. You kept building, kept growing, kept surviving. She leaned forward. "I wanted to see if that spirit could be useful to us. If humans could be allies, not just curiosities. And now? Now you have exceeded my expectations, and you have created a problem." Selleck pressed a button on her desk. A holographic display appeared, showing news reports from across the Union. The headlines were all about Earth, about death worlds, about humans. "Some officials want to ban humans from military service," Selleck explained. "They say you are too dangerous, too unpredictable. Others want to recruit every human they can find. They see soldiers who can operate in conditions that would kill anyone else." "What do you think, Commander?" Selleck was quiet for a moment. "I think the galaxy needs to understand what it is dealing with. And I think you need to show them." A delegation arrived 3 days later. High-ranking officials from 6 different species, each one representing a major power in the Union. They came with cameras, scientists, and military observers. They came to study the human. Tejo met them in the main hall of the academy. He stood at attention while they circled around him, examining him like a specimen in a laboratory. One official poked his arm, and seemed surprised by how solid the muscle was. Another scanned him with a device that measured bone density, and made a sound of disbelief at the results. "Remarkable," one of them said. "His skeleton alone weighs more than most cadets' entire bodies." "The cardiovascular system is incredibly efficient," another added. "Designed for sustained effort under heavy load." Tejo said nothing. He let them study him. He understood what was happening. They needed to see him as more than a monster, more than a weapon. The head of the delegation, an elderly alien with gray skin and kind eyes, stepped forward. "Cadet Kang, we have designed a special test. You will lead a squad of mixed cadets on a rescue simulation aboard an orbital station. The mission will be difficult. The conditions will be extreme." "What kind of conditions?" The official smiled slightly. "The station's gravity will be set to 0.9 g, almost Earth standard." Tejo understood immediately. For him, 0.9 g would feel almost like home. For the alien cadets, it would be torture. "Who will be in my squad?" "We have selected 5 cadets: Vorin, Nara, and 3 others from different species. The official paused. They have all volunteered. They want to serve under you. The orbital station hung in space like a metal skeleton. Lights flickered in broken windows. Hull plates were damaged and bent. According to the simulation, a crew was trapped in the lower decks with failing life support. Taeho's squad had 30 minutes to reach them. The transport docked at the station's main airlock. The moment Taeho stepped inside, he felt the gravity shift. His body became heavier. His legs had to work harder. His lungs pulled air that suddenly seemed thicker. It felt wonderful. Behind him, his squad members struggled. Voron's thin body trembled under its own weight. Nara's breath came in short gasps. The 3 other cadets, a short furry alien named Beck, a tall gray alien named Sela, and a multi-limbed insectoid named Tech, all moved like they were walking through water. "Stay close to me," Taeho ordered. "Move slowly. Conserve energy." They made it through the first corridor, then the second. Then the emergency doors locked behind them, and the lights went out. This was not part of the simulation. Alarms blared. The station shook. Through his communicator, Taeho heard confused chatter from the observation team outside. "Commander," he called, "what is happening?" Selik's voice crackled through the static. "Malfunction. Real malfunction. The station's systems are failing. Life support in your sector will shut down in 20 minutes. We are sending rescue teams, but they may not reach you in time." Voron collapsed against a wall. "We cannot make it," he gasped. "The gravity. I cannot move." Nara was on her knees, her silver hair falling across her face. "Leave us. Save yourself. You can make it." Taeho looked at his squad. 5 aliens who had volunteered to follow him. 5 lives depending on him. "No one gets left behind," he said. He picked up Voron first. The thin alien weighed almost nothing, even in this gravity. Taeho put Voron over his shoulder and grabbed Nara's arm with his free hand. "Beck, Sela, hold on to each other. Tech, wrap your limbs around Sela's back. I will pull you." "That is impossible," Sela protested. "Even for a human. You cannot carry all of us." "I am not going to carry you. I am going to drag you. Now hold on and do not let go." They moved through the dark corridors like a strange train. Taeho at the front, pulling and carrying, his muscles screaming with effort. The gravity tried to push him down. The darkness tried to confuse him. The pain tried to stop him. He did not stop. On Earth he had trained for this. Not exactly this, but situations like it. Carrying wounded soldiers through rough terrain, running through mud and rain with equipment on his back, pushing his body past every limit it thought it had. Gravity was not his enemy. Gravity was his oldest teacher. They reached the emergency exit with 4 minutes to spare. Taeho forced the door open with his bare hands, metal screaming as it bent. Light poured in from the rescue shuttle waiting outside. Medical teams rushed forward to take the squad members. Taeho stood at the door until every one of them was safe. Then, and only then, did he allow himself to collapse. When he woke up, he was in a medical bay. Commander Selik stood beside his bed. Her silver face showed something new, something that might have been a smile. "You carried all 5 of them," she said, in 0.9 G, for over a kilometer. Taeho's throat was dry. "They were my squad. The delegation has made its decision. Earth's classification is being changed. No longer a restricted death world. Full membership rights in the Union." She paused. "Because of you." Taeho closed his eyes. His body ached everywhere. But somewhere deep inside, a small flame of pride was burning. He had not just saved his squad. He had changed the galaxy's view of his entire planet. 3 years passed like water through fingers. Taeho stood in front of a mirror, adjusting his graduation uniform. The fabric was deep blue with silver trim, and on his chest hung medals that told the story of his academy years. Combat excellence, leadership honors, the Unity Medal, given to those who brought different species together through their actions. He looked older now, harder, but when he smiled, he still looked like the boy from Busan who had stepped off a shuttle into an alien world with nothing but courage and hope. A knock came at the door. Vorin entered without waiting for permission. The tall alien had grown more confident over the years, his movements less careful and more sure. Training beside a human had made him stronger than he ever thought possible. "Are you ready?" Vorin asked. "Almost." "Nervous?" Taeho considered the question. Today he would graduate at the top of his class. He would give a speech in front of representatives from 40 different species. He would officially become a commissioned officer in the Galactic Union military. "A little," he admitted. Vorin smiled. "Good. If you were not nervous, I would think something was wrong with you." The graduation hall was the largest building in the academy. Its ceiling reached so high that clouds sometimes formed near the top. Seats stretched in every direction, filled with cadets, instructors, officials, and families who had traveled across the galaxy to witness this moment. Taeho walked to his assigned seat near the front. To his left sat Nara, her silver hair now cut short in military style. To his right sat Torek, the reptilian who had once tried to break him in the crucible. They had become unlikely friends over the years, sparring partners who pushed each other to become better. "Big day," Torek said in a low rumble. "Yes. Try not to cry during your speech." Taeho almost laughed. "I will do my best." Commander Selleck took the stage. She looked the same as she had 3 years ago, silver and unreadable. But Taeho had learned to recognize the subtle warmth behind her eyes. "Today, we celebrate the graduation of a remarkable class," she began. "Cadets who have faced challenges, overcome obstacles, and proven themselves worthy of serving the Galactic Union. But this year, we also celebrate something larger, a change in understanding, a shift in how we view strength, resilience, and the true nature of warriors." She paused, and her eyes found Taeho in the crowd. 3 years ago, a human cadet arrived at this academy. He came from a world we classified as a death world, a place of crushing gravity, violent weather, and constant danger. We expected him to struggle. We expected him to fail. A murmur ran through the audience. We were wrong. That cadet did not just survive. He excelled. He set records that may never be broken. He led his squad through a crisis that would have killed most soldiers. And he did it all while teaching us something important about ourselves. Selleck's voice grew stronger. "We measured strength by gravity resistance, by bone density, by cardiovascular capacity. We forgot that true strength is forged by adversity, that the hardest worlds produce the strongest spirits." The Deathworld Cadet reminded us. The applause began slowly, then grew until it filled the hall like thunder. Later, after the medals were given and the ranks were assigned, Torek was invited to speak. The reptilian walked to the podium with heavy steps, his dark scales gleaming under the lights. "I will keep this short," Torek said, "because long speeches bore me." Laughter rippled through the crowd. 3 years ago, I invited Cadet Kang to the Crucible. I thought I would teach him a lesson about his place in this academy. Instead, he taught me. Torek turned to look at Taeho directly. I tried to break him. He did not blink. I hit him with everything I had. He hit back harder. And when he won, when he could have humiliated me in front of everyone, he helped me stand up. He bowed to me like I was worthy of respect. The hall went silent. That is the kind of soldier the Union needs. Not just strong bodies, but strong spirits. Not just warriors, but leaders. I am proud to call Kang Taeho my friend, and I will follow him into battle any day. Torek stepped down to thunderous applause. Then it was Taeho's turn. He walked to the podium slowly, feeling the weight of every eye in the room. Representatives from species that had never seen a human in person. Officials who had once argued that humans were too dangerous to serve. Cadets who would carry the stories of this day to every corner of the galaxy. He took a deep breath. On Earth, we have a saying, he began. Fall 7 times, stand up 8. It means that failure is not the end. It is just the beginning of the next attempt. He looked out at the crowd, finding familiar faces. Vorin, who had become a brother. Nara, who had become a trusted partner. Torek, who had become proof that enemies can become allies. I am not stronger because gravity made me heavy. I am stronger because gravity taught me to get back up. Every day on Earth, the planet tries to push you down. And every day, you choose to stand again. That choice is where strength comes from. He paused, letting the words settle. I did not come here to prove that humans are special. I came here to prove that humans belong. That we can stand beside any species in this union. That we can fight and serve and build something better together. His voice grew quieter. But I also learned something here. I learned that strength is not just about muscles and bones. It is about trust, about friendship, about the people who stand beside you when things are hard. I could not have made it through this academy alone. None of us can. He looked at his squad members, his friends, his family, chosen through fire and struggle. So if I have any wisdom to share, it is this. Find your people, hold on to them, fight for them, and no matter how many times you fall, get back up, together. The applause lasted for a long time. After the ceremony, Tejo walked through the academy grounds one last time. The purple sky was turning orange as the sun set. Floating vehicles hummed overhead. Somewhere in the distance, new cadets were beginning their first training exercises. A voice called his name. He turned and saw his sister, Kam Yuna, walking toward him. She wore a cadet uniform that was still stiff and new. Her hair was tied back, and her eyes were bright with excitement. You made it, he said. Of course I made it. Did you think I would let you have all the fun? She replied. He smiled. No. Yuna punched his arm, just like she used to do back home. Your speech was good, very inspirational. A little cheesy, maybe. Thank you. I am going to beat all your records, you know. I know. They stood together, looking out over the academy that had become home. In the mess hall, Vorin and Nara were saving seats for Tejo's farewell dinner. In the arena, Torek was probably already preparing a final sparring match for old times. And across the galaxy, humans were being welcomed into military academies, research stations, and diplomatic missions. The door that Tejo had opened was now wide enough for his entire species to walk through. Ready for dinner? Yuna asked. Tejo took one last look at the sky, then he nodded. Let's go. Earth's next chapter had begun, and Khan Tejo was ready to see where it would lead.